Welcome back, you guys, to another video at the Alpha Tribe. My name is Alva and this is a safe space. This is part of my trauma tea and therapy series that I have going on in my channel, and this series is going to be the story about my third traumatic relationship or toxic relationship. Trauma tea therapy, so you already know the vibes. I have not had tea in my last series, so let me see. I just want to make sure that you guys know I'm telling the truth, because why would I lie? My boyfriend made this tea for me. It's like a really healthy herbal tea. I'm not sure if I spoke about it before, but I probably have, so I'll be sipping on that. And I just wanted to start the series because it's a juicy one, and I learned a lot from this series. And stick along for the ride because I'm not sure if this one is gonna be as funny as my last story time about Cupcake, because Cupcake was really soft. I feel like the different kinds of abuse can obviously do different things to you. So that was more of like a financial abuse, a little bit of mental abuse, but we're gonna talk about other types of abuse in this series. And I just want you guys to know that there is a trigger warning. I don't want anybody to get triggered, but I do want you guys to just know what my story is. Maybe you can relate, hopefully you don't relate, but I just want you to know that things happen that are beyond our control. And I'm gonna start off with just that. So going into abusive relationships that are either physically abusive, financially abusive, mentally abusive, verbally abusive, so forth and so on. Those are just the four that I can count right now that happened in what I'm going to talk about. People react to them differently, and sometimes you don't see what's happening until it's too late, unfortunately. So that's kind of what happened to me. I was dating Cupcake, and then I broke up with Cupcake, and then my good friend passed away. So this is all this like one summer. It's like June. It's June, and then I'm not really dating the new guy, which we're gonna go ahead and call him P. I hadn't started dating P yet. Didn't even know who he really was. Maybe I had seen him and he used to like catcall me in the streets. I used to be in the streets a lot with friend A and B, and he used to trap, like he used to sell trees, and I used to buy from him at that time. So I was still seeing like my sneaky link. So whatever, I got the call that my friend had passed away, and everything shifted. My whole mentality completely changed. At this point, I still don't know about the weird ass shit that Cupcake did before that had to like involve the cops and stuff. I'm a little sick, but yeah, it's the summertime, and P used to catcall me in the street, and I used to like laugh at him because he was like a little chamaquito, like he was just like a little kid that I didn't pay attention to, because I had like been talking. I just didn't want, excuse me, I didn't want to talk to anybody at that time. Like I wasn't looking to hop into anything new, so I wasn't gonna pay attention to somebody catcalling me on the street. I thought I had more respect for myself than that. So whatever, after maybe like a month or two, he ended up telling me like, hey, like let's smoke together one time. Like what's it gonna cost you? Like just get to know me. And I was like, you know what, this little boy is about to light me up, so I'm gonna take it. And again, respect for yourself is something, for myself, is something that I was not at 100% at this time. I'm not gonna keep excusing myself throughout the video. Just know that I recognize my own faults. Even though I was a victim in some cases, I was also responsible for what happened to me, for the simple fact that I put myself in these situations. And the only reason why I know now not to put myself in these situations is because I went through them, unfortunately. So that's usually how it happens, unless you're just raised a different way or you experience different things. But nonetheless, I ended up smoking with the little kid. And I'm saying little kid because I found out that he was 4 years younger than me. So at the time I was 22 years old and he was 18 years old. Our birthdays are 2 days apart. Why? I don't know. I have no excuse for you. I always said I wasn't gonna date somebody that was around my height. The kid was literally like an inch taller than me. I always said I wasn't gonna date somebody younger than me, because that logically doesn't make any sense as a woman that's developing faster than men. Why I would, in my right mind, because I wasn't in my right mind, date somebody 4 years younger than me. Like that is crazy. And he also was new to the country, so he's from my homeland, which is the Dominican Republic. He had come maybe like a few years before that, so his English wasn't even that good. And the only reason why I bring that up is because there was a language barrier, because my Spanish, like, I guess we were both fluent because we both understood others and could communicate certain things. Like, I speak Spanish. I like to say that I speak Spanish, but he didn't really like to say that he spoke English. So I would often have to speak in Spanish to him, and the type of Spanish that I know is not the same as from the Dominican Republic, plain and simple. So like sometimes, you know, he'll make fun of me or I wouldn't understand him, which at the time I didn't think was a big deal, but now I definitely understand like cultural barriers a lot more than I did back then, especially like when it's your own home place. Like, it's just different. So that was the first thing. The age gap, you found me by catcalling me on the street, and there's a language barrier. These are three things that I didn't understand, right? After hanging out with him a couple of times, because like I kept smoking with him, like I just kept smoking with him on the street. He was my plug. And I remember one time it was like kind of drizzling, it was late at night, and mind you, this whole time I'm grieving my friend. Again, I don't want to use it as an excuse, but I'm grieving my very close childhood friend, and I just kind of want to get away from stuff, so I heavily started like drinking and smoking. I also want to mention that this lasts 1 year. This whole situation lasts 1 year, like I think 12 months exactly, if not 13 months. Yeah, because I started in like it started in July and then it ended in August of the next year. I'm finishing up my program. I'm looking for a new job. I'm trying to be good. My friend passes away. I go into a turmoil. And then for the next 6 months, like we're not really dating, but he was very possessive. So it's like warm and citrusy and herby. Is very possessive. The day that I thought he asked me out, like asked me to be his girlfriend, he literally put his arm around me and he was like, yeah, you're my bitch, you're my white bitch. I like, okay, because in the Dominican Republic there's heavy racism, and because I'm a New Yorker and I'm American, I'm automatically considered white to him, which is a whole different conversation on its own. But that was one of the first verbal things that it made me giggle at the time. Like, come on. That version of myself, I don't smack her around because she already got smacked around. But let somebody say some shit like that to me today, they wouldn't. Like, it wouldn't rock. So he said that to me and I like thought it was cute or whatever, and I was like, he said I'm his bitch. Like, first of all, I'm more offended at you calling me white than calling me a bitch. But nonetheless, you shouldn't have called me any of those things because I'm a grown-ass woman. You don't really know me like that, and whatever, we'll just leave that part of the story there. I think it was a key part of the story. So we keep talking. At this time I was still using Snapchat a lot. It became so possessive to the point where like if I would be using my phone, he would not like it and bitch at me or try to see my phone. I ended up deleting everyone on Snapchat. Till this day, like I still have my account because my Snapchat has a bunch of pictures, but I have no friends on Snapchat. He wouldn't like me being on any kind of social media. Excuse me, God forbid you would catch me with somebody in the street. And it wasn't one of those situations where it's like double standard, because you wouldn't see him doing anything. Like, he was very, very clean with if he ever did cheat on me in that relationship that we had, it was not evident ever. Didn't really chill with anybody. I always knew where he was because I spent that entire summer and that entire winter in the street. Like, it was dando aco. Like, I was literally outside every single day, smoking and drinking every single day with people that I had no business getting involved with. They didn't really put me in worse situations, but they weren't the type of people to tell me like, hey, go home, like you're too young for this, or you shouldn't be involved in this type of scene or anything like that. They would just keep me company, and they helped me get through a lot of my grief by helping me basically block it out instead of dealing with whatever I had to deal with. So that happened. And till this day I have no beef with anybody, like, but I also won't go back there because it's just not the environment that I could have ever seen myself in or would ever like to see myself in again. Like, I'm way better off. So yeah, it was that type of stuff. So we get into, so you already know that there's a little bit of verbal abuse and possessiveness, and you're already showing narcissistic tendencies with that. You're already showing that you're not really somebody, like, to me, because I was going downhill, it felt like that person was protecting me. But at the end of the day, they were just protecting me from safety and putting me in harm's way, which was them. Do you understand? Protecting me from safety, so I'm not safe anymore, and then only putting me in harm's way, which is what you have to give to me. You are harmful, and that's all that you want to expose me to. And my naive, grieving dumbass, and I'm saying dumbass because I always told myself I would never allow somebody to treat me like that. Yet I don't know what I would do in an abusive situation. I don't know what I would do because I have never been there. I always said that I've seen my friends go through abusive relationships. I've seen friends and family go through abusive relationships. And I always said, until, God forbid, I ever have to deal with it myself, I will not judge. I don't know what I would do, because I see how people get so blinded by abuse. It's so easy to get blinded by abuse if you've never been in that situation before, or if you've never put a foot towards healing, right? So the financial things that happened was, one time, I have 3 examples off the top of my head. So this is going to be the end of part 1. It was really short, but part 2 is going to be the financial abuse and how it led up to other forms of abuse. So I hope that you guys are okay with the ending here. I hope that you really stay tuned for part 2, because again, this is me sharing a sensitive part of my story and my journey. I don't really know what else to say except for come back next week for part 2. So yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you then.